Get ready for Netflix's gripping new medical drama, Pulse. Set in a cutting-edge Miami trauma center, third-year resident Dr. Danny Sims is unexpectedly thrust into a promotion when beloved chief resident Dr. Xander Phillips gets suspended. Then, with the emotional and physical stakes at their highest, a storm will push the hospital and its residents to their limits. Witness how life can change in a heartbeat when you're operating under pressure. Watch Pulse April 3rd, only on Netflix.
Subtle results, still you, but with fewer lines. Botox Cosmetic, onabotulinum toxin A, is a prescription medicine used to temporarily make moderate to severe frown lines, crow's feet, and forehead lines look better in adults.
Effects of Botox Cosmetic may spread hours to weeks after injection, causing serious symptoms. Alert your doctor right away as difficulty swallowing, speaking, breathing, eye problems, or muscle weakness may be a sign of a life-threatening condition. Patients with these conditions before injection are at highest risk. Don't receive Botox Cosmetic if you have a skin infection. Side effects may include allergic reactions, injection site pain, headache, eyebrow and eyelid drooping, and eyelid swelling. Allergic reactions can include rash, welts, asthma symptoms, and dizziness. Tell your doctor about medical history, muscle or nerve conditions including ALS or Lou Gehrig's disease, myasthenia gravis, or Lambert-Eaton syndrome, and medications, including botulinum toxins, as these may increase the risk of serious side effects. For full safety information, visit BotoxCosmetic.com or call 877-351-0300.
See for yourself at BotoxCosmetic.com.
This is a Rogue Media Network podcast.
Heart of Texas, the trailer park is nice and dark. Deep in the heart of Texas, that drinks his brew and he spits his chew. Deep in the heart of Texas, the TV blares but no one cares. Deep in the heart of Texas, here we go.
Welcome to Bois King of the Hill podcast. I am Mike.
And I am Rusty.
He is almost every single time.
Yeah, almost.
So today is season 7, episode 14, or in the year of our Lord 7ABE08.
Indeed.
Board games aired March 2nd, 2003.
Yep, March 2nd, 2003.
So
episode
yesterday,
140, I think.
Hey, Artie, what's up, man? Yesterday, Casey and we got in the car and drove to Austin.
How was that?
It was good. We went to Emo's and saw Fred Armiston from Saturday Night Live.
Yeah.
He has a music for comedians, but everybody's invited tour.
Okay.
It lasted 1 hour. That was the entire show, 1 hour.
Just 1 hour?
It was 1 hour. And he was doing
that's
two
kind of
shows.
disappointing.
He was doing 2 shows. And so, I mean, the show was good, right? It was funny. But it was an hour. And, I mean, it's just him playing a few instruments and telling jokes. And
yeah, you figure it would
doing
be longer than that.
stuff, so it's crazy. So we were like, the show started at 7. It was over promptly at like 8:04, right? But then we're in Austin, and we're like, now what? Because we're used to staying till midnight and coming home at 2.
And now there's plenty of time left to still do something else.
Yeah. So we looked up a band, and you guys might want to try looking this person up. He's been around for a long time. His name is Hammel on Trial, Hammel on Trial. He's very much a protest / comedian singer.
Okay.
It's a weird dichotomy of two things. But he's got some great songs, and we went to the Continental Gallery, which I didn't even know existed.
I don't even know what that is. Yeah.
Continental Club down on
okay.
South Congress.
Yeah.
Right above it, there's this little tiny hole in the wall called the Continental Gallery. And it's for little tiny shows, but there's couches in there, and there's a bar, and there's all
more
stuff
intimate setting.
Yeah, so we went in there and we watched him for about an hour and then came home. I mean, we got 2 shows in one night, so I was pretty happy about that. I got home before midnight, which I was very happy about that. And then also, it has become a tradition, and this is more King of the Hill related. It's become a tradition, well, loosely related, to stop at this truck stop. Well, not really truck stop, just gas station. You know, gas stations are all gigantic now.
Massive.
On the side of the road, and it's shoot, I can't remember the name of it. But anyway, it's after you leave Georgetown and stuff like that, and you're headed back towards Waco down 35. At 10 p.m. in this truck stop, gas station, rest area, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
They have 2 little restaurants in there. And restaurants, I use that word loosely, but a lot of deep fried things. You know, those pizzas like the Hunt Brothers pizzas, the crispy chicken, you know, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, just hot lamp.
They've got a lot of that stuff.
Hot
but at
lamp
10
food.
p.m., they close those down. They put all the leftovers in brown paper bags and sell them to you. So our tradition has become that we stop on the way home and we buy ourselves 2 of those bags.
You haven't gotten sick yet?
I'm going to tell you, no. I'm going to tell you, I'm okay with all of it because it's fried in deep grease. You know what I mean?
Got you.
So I think it's killing just about everything.
Everything that's possible to be on it,
yeah.
for sure.
But we stopped and we got 2 of the bags, and we got 2 large sodas.
Okay.
The entire thing was $12 because those bags
you can't
of
beat
meat
that.
are $3.50. And let me tell you what I got in my bag.
What'd you get?
Was a deep fried bean and cheese burrito, which those are always good.
Yeah.
2 ginormous corn dogs with, you know, the big fat wieners. And yes, I said big fat wieners in them.
Yeah. Yeah.
2 of those, a couple of jalapeno poppers,
Okay.
a chicken wing, and 2 biscuits. $3.50, man.
Yeah, you can't beat that for $3.
You cannot beat that with a stick.
No, that's a deal and a half.
Oh, no. And they had an empanada each in them, too. A little meat pie.
Oh, well, y'all, y'all
I'm
made
thinking
out
about
like
driving
kings
there
on
after
that
this.
one. Huh? Y'all made out like kings on that one.
Oh, boy.
It's a lot
10
of,
o'clock.
A lot of good eating.
10 p.m. every night. They shut those things down, and you get the $3.50 bags of meat. Ugh. Woo. Lovely night. We had a great time. All right, King of the Hill, Season 7, Episode 14, 7ABE08 Board Games aired March 2nd, 2003.
Yep.
The synopsis of this is tension erupts between Peggy, Minh, and Nancy when a seat opens on the school board and each of the women announces their intention to run.
Yeah, this is the Three Stooges episode.
It is. Directed by Hwan Lim. I hope I'm saying that right. And Kyung Hee Lim and Clay Hall.
Yep.
And then written by Mike Judge, Greg Daniels, and Svert Glarum. I don't know if that's correct. Sivert. Svert. Used to love a good Svert soda.
Svert, yeah. the grapefruit Svert soda.
Svert. All right, here we go, folks. We are starting at the strip mall. Again, this has become a thing on King of the Hill here lately, that we see these businesses that we didn't know existed. You know, we've never seen the strip mall because all of the businesses there have Laotian.
Yeah, it's a Laotian strip mall. Yeah.
This one is the Laotian nail salon, and the only reason we know that is because it's Laotian, then nail salon. We got Peggy, Nancy, and Minh, which I can't imagine they hang out a lot together.
I wouldn't imagine to see them hanging out, especially at a place where there's feet.
Absolutely. Artie says the limbs are involved with Laotian-themed episodes. That's kind of what I assumed, and I mean, good on them for making sure that there's people that actually know the culture, you know, involved in it. But they are all getting their nails done, and when I say nails, I mean toenails. They're getting a pedicure.
Yeah, they're getting their toenails done. Hooves re-shoed.
Yeah, and then Peggy says, this is just the right place, especially after our last outing. 2 pina coladas in, and Minh, she starts talking about stealing a car. Minh says, dark rum make me crazy. And then the poor lady who is having to give a pedicure to Peggy.
Yeah, old peg
with
leg.
Her giant ass Sasquatch feet. She says something in Laotian, and we see the subtitles that say, "You don't need pedicurists for these monsters. You need
a blacksmith." Yeah, you need a blacksmith.
And so Peggy's like, "What did she say?" Min says, "Oh, she think your feet are lovely and an honor to work on them." Yeah, okay. And then it shows the nail technician, and she's like wiping sweat, and she's working.
Yeah, she's working hard,
very hard.
She might as well be a farrier.
Yeah, very much so. Yeah,
Which
is that a horseshoer?
That's a horseshoer. Yeah, somebody that tends to horse feet.
I knew what you were saying. All right, so they all leave, and they go out to the parking lot, and Peggy says, "Now, where the heck did I park?" And they're looking for the car in the lot. She goes, this way? Oh, my memory trick is usually fail-safe. When we got out of the car, I associated the parking section with William Shakespeare. And you see a big sign on the pole
that makes a lot of sense,
that says 2B. And she says, so naturally the car should be parked in 2B, unless I was thinking of not 2B. And then we kind of hear a ruckus off to the side, and she goes, will you look at those delinquents horsing around with those shopping carts? I bet they're – oh, my God, it's Bobby. And then we hear these two kids wrecking shopping carts into each other.
Yeah, they're having a good time. They're
laughing.
Like running full speed, jumping on them and slamming them into each other.
Basically shopping cart jousting is what they're doing.
Yeah, yeah.
So she calls for Bobby. Nancy calls for Joseph. And then she says, this is what you're doing in your after-school program? Joseph says, and Joseph is he's a rude little shit.
Yeah,
because he says, program is shut down, dude. Budget cuts. He's calling all three of these women dude, which doesn't seem like a very Texan thing to do.
Nah, kids do. It's bro now.
Bobby says,
my kid calls me bro.
He calls you bro?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, thank you. Bobby says, so we're playing shopping cart chicken. Hey, we can get them to push us, thinking that the ladies are just going to start pushing them into each other.
Yeah.
Min says, no after-school program. Now who Connie going to tutor? Bums in rail yard? Bums in rail yard. Peggy says, this is ridiculous. Our kids should be enriching their minds, not using the parking lot as a playground. Something has got to be done. The people who canceled that after-school program are going to wish we never found our car. And then they just kind of look around. And she goes, where is that freaking thing?
Oh, James says that it's Joseph's dad or stepdad. Oh, yeah,
it is his stepdad
to blame.
Yeah. That's exactly right, yeah. All right, so we then go to the Hill House. It's evening. We're in the kitchen with Bobby, Hank, Peggy, Min, and Nancy, so it's a full kitchen.
Full kitchen.
Nancy says, we have a real issue here. This after-school program is important. Peggy says, absolutely. Our kids get out of school in the middle of the day when they air all those sex and drug-filled after-school specials. Isn't an after-school special made so that people learn the dangers of those things?
I think so.
I think she just thinks they're telling everybody to have unprotected sex and do drugs.
Unless, wasn't it around the time? Well, no, I guess those are like later in the evening shows. 90210. Beverly Hills 90210.
No, she's talking about those stupid after-school specials.
Like the Nancy Reagan stuff, like the drug, don't do drug stuff.
Kind of thing.
Yeah.
Artie says that those are warning specials.
Yeah, I learned more about drugs in Dare than I ever knew.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I didn't know anything, and then they're like, this is crack. And I'm like, well, that's good. And that was a crack education course. Thank you. Now I know what crack is.
That program did not work.
Didn't even know what the hell it was to begin with. Oh, that's what good weed looks like? Thank you.
It taught kids to not do bad drugs. It told them to do really good drugs.
They taught us what good drugs looked like.
Oh,
yeah.
Oh, my God.
I was like, hey, this is what good
at
coke
that point,
looks like, guys.
Kids kind of knew more than some of the cops, and they certainly knew more than their parents.
Yeah,
as far as
for
drugs
sure.
Go. Artie says those ads taught him how to cook an egg. That's
Hell
true.
Yeah.
This is your brain. This is your brain on drugs.
Yeah, that was to say they were throwing eggs at walls. Don't cook an egg. That's not how you cook an egg.
Cook an egg, you get high. Min says, oh, Peggy, let's take this to the school board tomorrow. They're not going to know what hit them.
Well, with the price of eggs, you could start. It's funny because I noticed on Facebook and stuff like that there's an increase of people selling farm eggs right now.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Like, everybody's getting rid of farm eggs. I've been actually buying some from a cousin of mine.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I prefer them. They taste better.
Oh, yeah. Fresh eggs are always better. Yeah.
Way better. And
James
cheaper.
says Bobby must have missed the meth special. Yep.
He's the one that cooked meth.
Yes. That's what I'm saying. He says he must have missed the meth special.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. That dude was cooking the
Hank
meth.
is in there, and he says, well, I got to tell you, your initiative is really impressing me, and not just because you're ladies. Okay, Hank, talk down to him a little more. That'd be good. Rusty says eggs are more than good drugs. That's true. Eggs
Free
are,
basing egg whites.
Free basing egg whites.
Yeah, there you go.
Peggy says, okay, girls, hands in the middle. Let's go. For the children on 3. Ready? 1, 2, 3, and they all, for the children.
the children.
And then Bobby says, for me.
For me,
He's got his stupid little squeal that he does. All right. Now we're in the Arlen High School auditorium, and they are in line to speak to the school board.
Yeah, and it's funny because it's like I said, this isn't one of my favorite episodes, but there's parts of it that are some really, really good, funny moments. This one right here is probably like one of my favorite moments of the show.
So Minh and Nancy and Peggy are all in line to speak at the microphone, because generally this kind of stuff is set up so that they have one microphone. Everybody kind of lines up. They give their questions. The school board answers. Minh is in front, and she has a shirt that says "Save the," and then Nancy's got Nancy's in front, and she's got a shirt that says "Program," and then Peggy's got a shirt that says "After School." So the way it's set up right now, it says "Save the program after school," which I think it's supposed to be "Save the
after school
program." But anyway, they're just not
which is very vague. They don't really talk about
it is the program.
It's just the program, the after school program.
So Nancy gets up to the microphone first, and she says, oh, I bet this must be very exciting for you men. Where you're from, you probably don't have freedom to criticize the government. Minh says, why would I criticize government in Laos? My father was general. I do what I want. I was a peasant's worst nightmare.
Yeah, that's what I was
fixing. I bet she was.
That's funny.
Ooh,
Yeah.
boy, I bet she was. School board member says, thank you, Ms. Chapman. Your request to ban sections F and S from the library dictionary have been noted. And the lady is very proud of herself. She gives a big thumbs up. She turns around, gives a big thumbs up to the other people who all have the Christian Fish T-shirt on. And so they're afraid of the letters F and S.
The iskthi, and it's called, there's like a name for it.
It's called an ISPI?
Ichthy. Ichthy
it's called
something.
an ichthy.
Well, ichthy is like fish.
Oh, okay. All right, so she sits down. Then Peggy looks at the girls.
The ichthus logo.
Ichthus.
That's the fish.
Okay. There's also the Darwin one that has the feet on it.
Yeah, there's there's that one that has like all the symbols.
Uh-huh. Like the coexist thing?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right,
what it is,
so the
coexist.
Christian Fish people applaud. They are coming up next. Heaven's Gate vibes. Yes, absolutely. You got that right, Artie.
Actually, and this is just a dive into a little fun fact about that fish
Heaven's
thing.
Gate?
No, the ichthys fish thing or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
The fish is based on the first letters of the Greek words for Jesus Christ.
Oh.
So the Greek word for fish is ichthys, which is also an acronym for Jesus. The Greek Iosis Christos Theo Uius Soter is Jesus Christ, Son of God, Savior, and
That's a long name.
that's where the fish symbol, I guess, for the Christian fish
He would
symbol
walk up
comes
to
from.
people and go, here's my business card. Oh, and if you turn it over, you can see the rest of my name.
Is Greek.
All right, so they are next in line. Peggy looks at them and says, okay, everybody have their talking points. Minh says, one little thing, though, Peggy Hill, keep it short. Sometimes you go on and on and on. I find it charming,
And
but you
on
might
and
lose
on
other
and
people.
Yeah.
Peggy says, oh, good advice. And you probably should not call anyone hillbilly or redneck or dumb monkey. She goes, oh, check. Everybody starts.
Which is funny because she usually would rebut, but she didn't. She was just
yeah.
like, oh, yeah, I agree. You're right.
Well, they're very passive-aggressive in the way they're talking to each other.
Yeah.
But the meeting is over at this point. Everybody starts to get up to leave. And the guy goes, well, I guess that does it for tonight's meeting. Everybody starts to get up. And he looks at the other guy and says, oh, nice work. And then Peggy runs up to the podium. She says, excuse me, Peggy Hill and the Coalition to Save the After-School Program at Tom Landry. The guy says, sorry, Miss Hill, but these meetings last from 6 to 8, and it is now 8 o'clock. So
that's
he's
probably one of my favorite scenes
he's
of the whole
just
show.
waiting it out. All right, so now they're
Because what are they going to say in 5 minutes other than hold
what I'm
everybody up to
saying.
8:15?
It's 8 o'clock now. So they're in the car headed home. Minh says, oh, great, now Connie going to end up smashing carts like brain-dead delinquents. Peggy says, she goes, no offense. Peggy says, none taken. I wasn't even listening. That's
Yeah, that's an asshole.
okay. She goes, now, here's the game plan. We take things to the next level. Min says, new T-shirts? She goes, no. Nancy says, sweatshirts? She goes, not yet. What we have to do, not yet. What we have to do is get on the school board. There's an open seat and an election coming up. Nancy says, do you really think we can win an election? She says, I know we can. You know, the turnout at these things is always very low. The secret is to find a group of voters that feels overlooked. Then look at them.
I always thought the school board. I always thought they should decentralize it and give the power back to the superintendents.
What do you mean?
I don't see the point in a school board.
Well, it's supposed to be concerned parents, is what it's supposed to be. Yeah, right? But like anything else,
it ends up being a political thing.
Yeah, like anything else, it's become a very political thing.
Yeah, it feels like.
Hello, Daniel.
I watch a lot of the YouTube highlights of whether it be local government or school government, like school board and stuff like that. It just doesn't seem like they get a whole lot done.
No, it becomes more about Robert's Rules of Order than it does anything else, you know.
Yeah,
and it's a very self-serving thing. Well, it's like the one where Hank ran because of the low flows, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the same kind of thing. It's all political.
Oh,
it has nothing to do
I
with
won't name any names because it's kind of a local thing, but there was a small locality near where we're at. You actually are familiar with this area very well. Okay. It's where you grew up. So there's a guy who was mayor at this is recent, and he was a home developer, and he was getting all of his company's homes out there and being, you know, in these new developments and stuff like that. Yeah. Well, another guy who owns a car service, the current mayor, one of the rumors is the only reason that he became mayor is because there's a road in front of his house that hasn't been worked on in 30 years that he's lived there.
I can see that.
So he became mayor to get that fixed. Yeah. And as soon as his term's up, he's never going to run again.
I can certainly see that.
It's just like, you know, we're in this local government kind of funny stuff.
Especially in the area you're talking about that I grew up in. Yeah. Those roads suck very hard. Yeah, they're very, very bad roads.
Yeah, some of them are tough out there, Unless you're in the brand new neighborhoods, all the other roads
there were
pretty
three
rough.
Streets. You know, the one I grew up on, the one in front of us, my grandparents were on, and the one behind us I had my first house on. And I would say my grandparents' street was the best of all three. Ours had this giant hump right in front of our house. And about
the other
halfway
one was like
down,
a dirt road.
And about halfway down, it just turns into gravel road.
Yeah.
But in front of our house, this is how big that hump is. I used to use it as a ramp to jump my bike.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, that's a big ass hump. And then the third street, the one that I bought my first house I bought on, that one you could not get down without screwing up your suspension.
Yeah, it was a really bad road.
Terrible road.
And it was always weird to me that those roads were bad, but they were really close to town.
All I was ever told is how great Texas roads are. That's bullshit.
Yeah, no, they're not that great.
All right, so let's see, where are we? We are, I know we can. Peggy says, you know, these turnout and these things are always very low. Secret is to find a group of voters that feels overlooked and look at them. Min says, and I can get votes from the Laotian community. I get $5 tip on French manicure. I'm the Lady Di. $5.
Yeah.
Nancy says, well, I warned the folks over at Shady Pines Trailer Park about the tornado. They were so grateful. They're still naming dogs after me. What a legend. Peggy says, great.
That was a good episode, though.
It was a good episode. She goes, we got pockets of votes in the Laotian community and the trailer parks. Then I score countywide with my 2-year teaching degree. I'm not sure that's how that works, Peggy.
The old 2-year teaching degree. Yeah, where are you getting those at?
Now we go over, which we don't see very often, Dale and Nancy.
Has that ever been a thing? I don't think it's ever been a thing.
2-year teaching degree?
Yeah.
Well, you only have to have a 2-year teaching degree to be a substitute teacher.
I thought you didn't even have to have a degree to be a substitute teacher. I thought you could be just a high school graduate.
You can go in there with that, but you have to complete something. You know,
okay.
So like you have to get your certification and you have to do all this stuff, and you can only do it for so long. Artie says this is foreshadowing number 2. He's absolutely correct.
Oh, it's an 8 o'clock shadow.
Dale and Nancy are in bed. Nancy's talking to Dale. Dale is kind of turned over looking at something, and we don't know until the end of this sentence. She goes, I wonder which one of us should run. I mean, Peggy's a ball of fire, and man, she's smart as a whip. Either way, our kids are in such good hands. And then we see Dale. He's on the other side of the bed. He has a jeweler's magnifying glass thing in his eye, and he's looking at the sheet, and he's going 198, 199. Hey, these things are supposed to be 200 thread count sheets. Damn Egyptians. I mean, he didn't listen to a damn thing she said. Rusty says
the damn Egyptians line's pretty good too. That's one of my favorite lines.
Rusty says in Alabama you can sub without any degrees.
Well, you can
that's
also.
Good deal. Well, we're going to turn all the education back over to the states.
Yeah, you can also marry your cousin in Alabama too.
True,
I think.
true. Now we go over to Con and Min in bed. Con says, but Min, 3 women can't fill one position. The school board seat, not Boomhauer's bathtub or hot tub. She goes, well, when you think about it, I'm most logical choice. My daughter, a proven genius. Plus, my perfectly symmetrical face is pleasing to voters and inspires trust. Rusty says, hey, now, about that Alabama thing.
Oh, the Alabama thing.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I didn't say
something
it.
was coming, yeah.
I didn't say it. I just heard it.
Yeah. And then Khan says, and it sure would be nice to finally get Laotian in power. We got to eat their fish on Friday. They're going to eat our rice noodles on Wednesday for breakfast. I mean,
I could eat rice noodles for breakfast.
That just seems like a very low stakes revenge. As far
Very
as I'm
low
concerned,
stakes. Force feeding us all rice noodles. Oh, I got to eat rice noodles.
Then we go over to Hank
I'm
and
scared.
Peggy in bed. Hank
I
says,
love rice noodles.
I like rice noodles too.
Yeah.
He says, you got the most school-related experience, the best interpersonal skills. Ooh, what? That's questionable. And a smile that lights up a room.
On that one.
He goes, yep, Peggy, I got to say, I agree with all your reasons why you should be the one to run for school board. Peggy says, well, thank you, Hank, but let's not lose sight of why I'm doing this. It's for the children. Now, I'm not saying Min hates children, but I really love children. There are 3 out of the 5 points of my 5-point plan. I haven't quite figured out the other 2 yet. I'm thinking something about America. Hank's just like, wow, dynamite.
Dynamite. He not even paying attention to what she's saying. Yeah.
No, not at all.
She just said America, and he was like, oh, yeah, America.
Artie, giving us a fun fact of the day, says toothbrush was invented in Alabama. Anywhere else, it would be called teeth brush.
You know what Mama said about them alligators, right? They got all them teeth and no toothbrush.
That's very funny. All right. So now we are we're at breakfast at Min's. All 3 girls are there. Min has made some cookies. She's bringing them over to the table. Nancy's talking. She says, even though Dale says Principal Moss may try to assassinate us, I think this is going to be nothing but fun.
That's funny that they're talking about an assassination attempt.
The principal's going to assassinate you. Min says, I can't wait to get started. I have so many ideas. I couldn't sleep at all last night, so I make pecan sandies. She hands them out. Peggy takes one. Peggy says, I appreciate your enthusiasm. Now, it's obvious who our candidate should be, but it would be presumptuous of me to do the nominating. So, and then Min says, oh, I'm not sure how obvious it is. Then Nancy says, oh, you mean me? Peggy takes a bite of that cookie and starts to choke on it. As she's choking
but it's not just a normal choke. She's choking like somebody needs to hit the Heimlich or something.
Yeah,
like she's
it's
dying.
It's a deep.
Like I can understand a dry. Like every now and again, you'll bite a cracker and you'll breathe wrong when you hit it, and it'll kind of like when a
This is
pepper.
like she ate some sand.
Yeah, it's kind of like a pepper hitting the back of your throat and kind of taking your breath away. Kind of the same thing with something dry, but. She should have still been able to. No, stop.
Nancy says,
"Not me."
Oh, you mean me? And then Peggy starts to choke on that cookie. She goes, well, I'm not sure I'm the person for the job. She's still choking on it. Min moves the glass of water out of the way so that Peggy can't drink the water. And she says, Min says, well, somebody got to do it for the children. If no one else wants to run, no one. And finally, Peggy said, 5 points, Mama. She starts like choking through it.
Trying to tell her 5 points.
She's trying to give her 5 points. Min says, all in favor of me? Well, thank you, Peggy, Nancy. And Peggy looks at the water bowl on the ground that says doggy on it. And Nancy says, well, since Peggy's okay with it. And then Min says, okay, then, done deal. And Peggy finally just jumps down on the ground and starts licking water out of the freaking water bowl just so she doesn't choke to death. And then she comes up and says,
there's a sink in that kitchen somewhere she could have walked
hold on. Not that I want the job or anything, but – and then Min says, then don't sweat it. Oh, and I wouldn't drink from there. Doggy has a cold. Doggy comes up and just sneezes right on Peggy. And that is our first commercial break. We're going to take that, and we'll be
right back.
There it is.
This episode is brought to you by Progressive Commercial Insurance. Business owners, meet Progressive Insurance. They make it easy to get discounts on commercial auto insurance and find coverages to grow with your business. Quote in as little as 6 minutes at progressivecommercial.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company. Coverage provided and serviced by affiliated and third-party insurers. Discounts and coverage selections not available in all states or situations.
Halliday presents, in the red corner, the undisputed, undefeated Weed Whacker Guy. Champion of hurling grass and pollen everywhere. And in the blue corner, the challenger, extra strength Halliday. Eye drops that work all day to prevent the release of histamines that cause itchy allergy eyes. And the winner by knockout is Halliday. Halliday, bring it on.
Result of that. Hey, look at there. We had actual ads. How about that?
There we go.
Weed and dick pills and maybe some dildos. So enjoy. All right. So now we are back at the Hill House. They are in bed, which just has become a common thing for us in every episode. Peggy is talking to Hank. She goes, I can't help thinking that men did it on purpose. Those pecan sandies were astonishingly dry. He goes, oh, come on, Peggy. They're not shy people. If men wanted to choke you, she had just reached over and done it with her hands. He's got a point there. She goes, I will give her that. You know, Peggy, you could still be the power behind the scenes, just like that little fella in The Wizard of Oz. Little fella in The Wizard of Oz. She goes, yeah, you're right. Maybe next election I can run another candidate, then another. Before you know it, I'll be running the entire city from the bathtub.
From a bathtub, yeah.
Oh, God.
She's delusional.
The grandeur in the way that she thinks is amazing to me.
She's hungry for the power she doesn't even have yet.
Yeah, she has no power yet.
She doesn't
whatsoever.
have any power.
That's all
she's
she
just
wants
super hungry
ever.
for it.
Anything she does, she wants to be noticed, in power. She wants to be an authority. All of those things.
Oh, Artie talking about her picking up the bowl and drinking the
she
water.
Was on all fours.
But you know the thing about that, Artie, that whole scene that tripped me out is there's a sink in that kitchen that's probably the same distance from her to any other thing in that room.
Jump over the damn table and get the water. You know, I mean, it was right there. It was a glass of water.
Yeah, I didn't. Yeah, no, that's kind of gross. I would never drink out of my own dog's bowl.
No,
let alone at somebody else's house and somebody else's dog bowl.
So the next day,
we're
watching Peggy get dressed in her power suit, which she very much admires herself in, but she does take the price tag and poke it back down into the sleeve because she may want to return it. She then gets out the backgammon set, clears all the shit out of it, and uses that as a briefcase.
Yeah.
Not sure what she's got in the briefcase.
The backgammon briefcase.
Yeah. And then
I used to do that with the domino case that my parents had. It was
did you?
It was really small, and I would empty all the dominoes out of it, and I would use that when I went to my friend's house to smoke weed.
Yeah.
I would hide the dominoes underneath my pillow or something, and I'd have this little suitcase, and I would open it, and it would have like my weed in it with my rolling papers. No, I didn't tell them I was playing dominoes. It was just something that would sit
Chicken
there
foot night.
and hardly ever get used. So I would, I would just put all my weed stuff inside of it. It would be like a neat little briefcase.
I already want you to check the notes there. I think he's got something to add to us here. But she comes out.
It says right here, the scene where Peggy and Bobby walk down the hallway after Peggy puts the backgammon boards into the suitcase along with folders, uses digital ink and paint.
Oh, okay.
So that was their... because around this time, they're getting ready for the full switch from digital to ink. So they're doing a lot of testing. Mm-hmm. They're doing a lot of like, all right, well, let's just do this one scene in this way just to see what it's going to look like just to get the procedural stuff down, because this is all procedural at some point.
It very much felt like kind of a West Wing thing, because she comes out of the bedroom. Bobby joins her right there, and they're walking down this long hall, which they don't have a long hall, but he's walking right next to her like he's giving her all the information.
She's getting into what they call campaign manager mode. Yeah.
He says, Mrs. Soup and Mrs. Gribble, Mrs. Soup, I love that, and Mrs. Gribble are waiting in the living room. Here's breakfast, and I typed up the monologues from Leno and Letterman. She goes, good work. Now I need you to highlight last week's Doonesbury's and tell me why they're funny. They make it into the kitchen, and Hank says, Peggy, are we out of butter? Bobby whispers to her, it's behind the cottage cheese. She goes, behind the cottage cheese. So he is like her Renfield or her little, second in charge or whatever.
Whatever you want to call him.
So she goes into the thing, and she sees Min, Connie, Nancy, and Joseph. She goes, okay, people, I'm glad to see you're all here. There's 4 people. She goes, now let's, and then the phone rings. She answers it and says, War Room. She says, thank you. She hangs up. She goes, that was Bobby. He was testing the line. He's like right next to her. And she just gives him a thumbs up, and he gives her a thumbs up. She goes, okay, first off, we're going to need to make some changes. And Nancy says, oh, we're just about done making signs, Shug. And she goes, men to win? I don't get it. She goes, what not to get? I'm in. I want to win. I mean, she's got a point there.
It's pretty self-explanatory.
Yep. Peggy says, maybe we should focus the group that. Nope, no go. Women 18 to 45 will be turned off.
Yeah,
Here's
the
what
one-woman focus group.
One-woman focus group, and
she just focused.
Focus group.
Yeah, she just focused for a minute, and then she's like, all right.
And she knows what 18 to 45-year-old women want. Men says, it'd be a big help, Peggy Hill? Starbucks run. And Nancy says, oh, I'll have a Frappuccino. And Bobby, of course, bag of Madeleines.
Mandolins,
whatever. I think they're the little cookies, right? The little what do you call it? Pepperidge Farm cookies, right? Yeah. He says Peggy's catchphrase takes 3 signs. Yeah. Well, 1 sign's good, 3 signs are better.
Yeah.
Hank, Dale, and Bill are out in the alley with these signs, and Dale says, I'm all for men running for office, but you better not take my guns away. Hank says, she's running for the school board. He goes, then she better not take Joseph's guns away.
Yeah, like I thought that this is after Columbine, too, to make a school and gun joke.
Hank says, well, I'm not crazy about making holes in my lawn, but I guess it's for the children. Bill says, my lawn's already dead. Maybe we can put all the signs there. Hank says, no offense, Bill, but this campaign is about hope. And Bill says, oh, yeah, right.
Yeah, his whole life and his yard is in despair.
All right, so now we're at the Meet the Candidates in the auditorium there at the school. Candidate 1 gets up and says, I'm not saying you have to use the moment of silence to pray. The kids who don't believe in God can just sit quietly and smirk about how they've got it all figured out, which I thought was fantastic. That's really good.
That is pretty good. They're the ones with the little
people.
The fish symbol.
That's Miss Chapman. She's the one with the fish shirt.
The religious affiliated group, which in Texas, that them winning as they, foreshadowing for the end of it, it makes sense that they would win.
Oh, absolutely. So she's done with her speech because she's told the kids that they're all idiots. The guy gets up and says, thank you, Miss Chapman. The next question is for Min phone. I mean, he just really fucks up her name really bad.
Really bad.
Oh, Ashley Gardner, he said, is who did the fish lady, Miss Chapman.
Yeah.
So Min gets up and she goes, hello, everybody, and my Laotian friend, Sabadi. I think that's how you say it. I don't know. I apologize if I'm terrible at that. Person in the audience says, yeah, you've been talking about keeping the after-school program going. I think I hear the sound of my property taxes going up. Another guy stands up and says, and you fat cats with your pie-in-the-sky programs and your free prescription drugs.
It's a school board meeting, and he's screaming about prescription drugs.
Min says, no, that's not me. I don't want to increase taxes.
But on Artie's notes here, so I don't know if I guess this is I would think this is in all states and all schools, but it might not be. But I know in Texas for sure, school boards vote on tax rates, but they've got like a limited power, so it has to be voter approved tax rates, and they have to do like an election, so. They could call up and say, hey, we want to raise taxes, and then they have to take it to a vote, and the citizens have to vote yes or no on it. And that's one of the problems at some of the schools in this area is people don't want to raise their property taxes by $12 a year to help kids have better schools. So kids are still in schools from, I want to say it's the Collie School District. They have a school that was built before my dad was born. My dad was born in 1960. So well,
the issue to me is not necessarily property taxes. The issue to me is how mismanaged the funds are.
That too. Mismanagement of money.
You know, it's the mismanagement of the funds. It's not that you've got too many people employed. It's not that you've got old schools. It's not any of that stuff. It always comes down to the people at the top not knowing what the fuck is going on at the school level.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter whether it's schools, education, retail, whatever. The people at the top generally have lost track of things that go on day to day in the business. And in this case, the business is the school. We have politicians making decisions for education for us in this country, and most of these politicians have never been in a school since they graduated high school.
And some have never been in a public school.
Yeah, that's true too. That's true too.
A lot of them are.
They have no clue.
I'm not gonna say a lot of them,
but
there's a good chunk, I'm sure, that probably were in some.
A little bit of a soapbox, but they make these decisions, and then they give no money to execute the decisions. So. My wife sees this a lot being in admin here in Waco, and it's, they're constantly dropping these things on them. Like currently, the state of Texas has started a vote on banning cell phones from schools. Sounds great, pleases voters, right? But if you are an educator or you're an administrator of a school, who is going to take up all those phones? What are you going to do with all the phones? What are you going to do when people are pissed off because you take their phones? What are you going to do if people won't give you their phones? You need extra people to just take care of the damn phones.
You need a phone police.
None of that is taken care of. They don't care how you do it. They just want to get the information out there so that the voters go, oh, he really cares. Well, no, he doesn't give a shit. He's just giving you buzzwords is what it is.
Yeah, because taking phones away isn't going to solve anything. There you go.
No, actually, we had a stabbing at a school around here within the last couple of weeks.
Yeah.
Or month, I guess. And kid was killed. And it was awful, right? But if you look at their policy, they banned phones in that school. They didn't have them.
Yeah.
So the other problem came up was the kids that were frightened and knew what was going on could not get a hold of their parents.
They couldn't communicate out, yeah.
So what are you going to do, man?
And people say, well, people have that mentality of, well, we didn't need it in our generation. Yeah, and if there was a school shooting, you wouldn't have been able to contact your mom or anything.
If you didn't do it in your generation,
doesn't mean that it's not available to the next group.
If you didn't do it in your generation, that's great. But society has changed since then. We have all these things out there. You can't just my problem with it was always reality of the world does not end at the school door.
Yeah.
The kid that comes through the door that doesn't have a family, they still don't have a family when they come in school.
Yeah.
The kid that wants to shoot everybody up still wants to shoot everybody up when they come into school. So it again, sorry about the soapbox, but it is a mental health issue. It is a familial issue. It is not a catchphrase, everybody vote on it, and then bitch at the teachers issue. That sucks.
Definitely not. Well, it's not the teachers go to work just like everybody else. It's a job, And people are like, well, they're taking care of our kids. And I was like, yeah, and that's why they're there doing it and dealing with all the BS they have to deal with. And there's teachers that have done it for 20 years and have dealt with it and, incrementally watched it get worse.
Yeah, yeah.
That's one of the reasons my kids' grandparents were longtime educators and his great-grandparents, and they ended up quitting early, retired a little early, because of how different it was when they were teaching.
I'm sure.
They were teaching in the mid '60s, and now it's like early '90s, and they're still young enough to teach. They're still in their mid to late 50s, and they still want to teach, but they're like, well, it's just horrible in these schools in like the city here. So they went to a rural school and finished off their career at a rural school. But even at the rural school, they were like, yeah, it's just so different. Like, I used to be able to smack a kid across the knuckles when he was acting up, and now I can't, Yeah.
No, there's no repercussions at this point. But, okay, so Min says, She says, no, that's not me. I want to increase taxes. Guy in the audience says, oh, yeah, sure, you'd love it. She goes, no, you're not listening, Jethro. Okay, she's made her number one mistake. She called somebody Jethro. Peggy jumps up and goes, oh, this is ugly. Someone has to stop the bleeding. So she grabs the mic from Min, and she says, what my candidate is trying to say is that we will cut the fat and leave the muscle.
Just random quotes that don't mean. I want a shirt that says that. That's what we need. We need shirts that say "cut the fat and leave the muscle."
I like the one about the pants coming.
Yeah,
up.
I like that one too. We need a shirt that has that on it.
Min grabs the mic back and she says, "I know what I'm trying to say. It's just what I say." She grabs the mic back. She says, please bear with my candidate. Obviously, English is not her first language, but how about a hand for her courage? Yeah. They're just wrestling over the microphone at this point. She goes, oh, you crazy? Get out of here. She grabs the mic back. She says, the thing to remember, people, is that you're not going to have to tighten your belts because we're going to fix the pants. Yeah. I love that. You don't have to tighten your belt if we fix the pants.
Yep, just hem them up.
She gets the mic back. She goes, give me that. She gets the mic back. She goes, you need me. Fix the pants. A lady in the audience gets up and says, can I ask a question? What are you going to do to raise the educational standards? The guy in the audience, the first one, says, without raising taxes. The other guy just goes, fat cats. Peggy says, let's see how you handle this one. And she hands her the mic. She goes, we're all concerned about educational standards, and I'll tell you where the problem is, the teachers. Did you know our school system require only a 2-year degree to be a substitute teacher? She goes, so you want to know how I raise standards without raising taxes? I tell you after I look into your hearts and you look into mine. Out in the audience, you get kind of a rally. They all start to applaud. She says, no teacher, full-time or substitute, can teach our kids without having a 4-year college degree. And the man out in the audience goes, that's exactly what I needed to hear today. And then Peggy says to herself, wait, I only have a 2-year degree. And then starts shouting, pants, children, America.
Pants, yeah.
Pants, children, America.
I think she starts to notice definitely that she's getting stabbed in the back by men.
This is where the cracks come in. Yep, definitely.
Men's getting her.
All right, so now we're at the Hill House.
It's time for revenge. Peggy's a very vengeful. It's time for revenge.
Yeah, very much so. We're at the Hill House in the kitchen. Peggy's talking to Hank. Hank does not say a word during this entire exchange. She goes, she's taking teacher away from me. That's my life. How dare she? I groomed her. I taught her everything, and she has the nerve to stab me in the back. This is just not done in politics, Hank. No, that is politics.
That's exactly what is done.
There's no way I'm going to go back to college. I'm a teacher. I'm done learning.
I like that line, too.
Perfect. Next day, we're over at Nancy's.
I'm done learning, so that's what it is. You get a teaching degree, and that's it. I don't have to learn no more.
The next day, Nancy is out in her yard gardening. She's got the big floppy hat on. She's on the ground kind of doing it. Peggy peers up over the fence, and she goes, can you believe that woman? Nancy says, I'm real sorry what happened to you, Shug, but the important thing is to keep the after-school program alive, right? She goes, the what? Oh, yeah, of course, for the children. But can we really trust men to deliver? I mean, come on. This is a woman who makes dumb blonde jokes behind your back. Well, now you got Nancy's attention. She goes, men makes dumb blonde jokes behind my back? Peggy says, hey, don't drag me.
Peggy.
She goes, hey, don't drag me into your little cat fight. I just came over to save the after-school program. No, you started the cat fight. Or the cat fight. Spitty Peggy. Yeah, there you go.
I think that's funny, though.
She says...
she instantly tried to manipulate her.
So now she's got Nancy pissed off. She goes, oh, that witch. She goes, here's what I'm thinking. We dig up some dirt on men. You do an expose on the local news. And then after her support is totally gone, I jump into the race and I give that freaking dog the beating of her life. I mean, Jesus, Peggy. God almighty.
Yikes.
Nancy says, well, I don't know. That kind of reporting isn't really my area. She goes, Nancy, how much longer do you think you can milk this sexy weather girl act? 2 years?
Sexy
3 years? 2 years tops? She goes, 2, 3, 2 years tops?
Yeah, she's not giving her very much confidence. And I don't know. Peggy's kind of being an ass.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, she's breathing. So, yeah, she is. She goes, this is your chance to be taken seriously. Get on the air and deliver the biggest news flash of your career. Peggy Hill is running for school board. It says Peggy spits in Nancy's face right there. She wipes it off. Yeah, I missed that part. I'm sorry, Artie. But that is Spitty Peggy. She goes, well, I do want to be taken seriously, and I have some ideas. She goes, oh, honey, I'm sure you do. Oh, boy, how condescending is that?
I'm sure
you honey,
do.
I'm sure you do.
That's very condescending.
She goes, it's just that no one ever listens to me. Peggy's like, okay. We have to think constructively and she is not listening to her at all. She goes, okay. We have to think constructively and get emotional about this. Now, how do we destroy men? She goes, oh, there she is. She comes by the fence. Peggy, like under her breath, goes, smile and wave, smile and wave. And so they do, and then it shows Min's face, and Min under her breath says, I bury you. I mean, this has gotten contentious very, very quickly.
Yeah, it's turned into a bit of a spat. I think that it's funny how it ends up, actually. They just like nothing ever happened.
Yeah. Now it's nighttime. We got Dale, Nancy, Peggy spying on Min from inside the Bugabango. So they're literally spying.
The bug out.
They're literally spying on the whole family.
They got the whole world bugged.
Nancy says to Dale, what are they saying, Dale? He goes, Con is asking Min to pass the potatoes. She goes, Peggy says, oh, come on, I need something juicier than that. Bobby then opens the van door, and he has fake glasses, a big nose, and mustache on, like that Groucho Marx.
The Groucho Marx thing, yeah.
And he goes, I tried to slip in their house as a paper boy, but Mr. Susan News'n'Phone recognized me. And then he pulls up this bag, and he goes, but I grabbed their garbage. He's got the entire bag of garbage, right?
Bag of garbage, which people actually do that. Is what's crazy.
PIs and stuff. Peggy grabs the bag from him. She goes, look who's too good to hang on to a Sizzler coupon. And then she says, what do we have here? Come to mama. Then we go over
That's disgusting.
We go over to the Hill House. Bobby is in the living room making buttons for Peggy, and Hank is reading the paper. The TV is on. On the TV, we hear Nancy saying, and that cold front looks like it wants to stay put right through the weekend. So while there may be a spring in your step, there's none in the forecast. Then it goes over to Miguel, who is the it is like a Gene Shalit mask. She goes over to the anchor named Miguel, right? That's what his name is. And he says, muy bien, Nancy, just how much fun is a barrel of monkeys? Well, 2 radio DJs. And then Nancy breaks in, and she says, and Miguel, here's some advice on the upcoming school board election. I'd think, again, if you're planning on voting for Min, Susan News'n'Phone, I don't think these are the kinds of pay-per-view programs that a friend of the children should be watching. And she's about to read, like, her pay-per-view list.
Yeah.
Which is insane.
Which is wild.
Peggy is standing there in the TV studio, kind of watching everything that's going on because she's now the election whatever. And in Khan's house, you get Khan pointing to the TV, go, I told you, man, but no, you just had to see hobos boxing. Hobos boxing.
Oh, speaking of which,
assuming that's bum fights, right?
Bum fights, yeah. Which that's actually one of my favorite episodes of.
Already says bum fights.
That's my actual favorite episode of. Oh, what the heck show is it? Dr. Phil is when the bum fights guy goes and visits him on Dr. Phil. So he has him on, but when Dr. Phil walks out, the guy is dressed exactly like Dr. Phil. He even has a bald cap on and everything, and Dr. Phil just says, you know what, you just get out of here.
Have you seen, there is a talk show that's called Dr. Phil Live, and it is not Dr. Phil. It's a comedian that plays Dr. Phil the whole time.
Yeah, no, I've actually, that's Adam, Adam Ray.
That's coming to Austin. And then also.
Yeah, he lives in Austin. He does a bunch of stuff with Kill Tony. He does a funny Biden. So there's an episode of Kill Tony where him and Shane Gillis are Biden and Trump on the Kill Tony dais. Yeah. And that is a hilarious episode.
There's
but yeah, he used to be a door guy at the comedy club back 15, 16, 17 years ago with Tony Hinchcliffe. They were all doormen.
There's also another show coming to Austin. They have a big thing there called the Moon Tower Comedy Fest.
Yeah,
huge. All the comedy clubs, all these people come to town. There's another one called I think it's Hanging with Dr. Z, and it's Dr. Z from Planet of the Apes.
Oh, okay.
Who hosts a 60s type talk show.
Oh, that's funny.
That would be fantastic.
Yeah, I haven't seen that.
Yeah.
No, that Adam Ray guy is hilarious. He does a really funny Biden. He does a different show too. I can't think of he does like 3 different characters.
Gould, that's right, Artie. Yep.
And then what did James say? I don't like how they did Flair. There was a really bad episode of Kill Tony with Ric Flair on it.
Yeah.
And Ric Flair was drunk, and I don't think Ric Flair fully understood the premise of the show.
Sure.
I don't think he understood that it was just making fun of people.
Yeah.
And so this guy came out and gave like this heartfelt story about what his career is and stuff right after doing a not very good set. But the whole show, you know when you go out there, you're going to get roasted no matter what you say.
Sure.
And Ric Flair was kind of like standing up for the guy. I won't make fun of a guy who helps children. I won't make fun of a guy who helps kids. And, like, I'm leaving. And, like, Ric Flair got up in the middle of the show and just left.
That's a good show.
Oh, it was good. It was great for TV. Yeah, it was great comedy for sure.
Did you see that Kill Tony, I think, is on – it's either Netflix or –
Yeah, it's going to Netflix. They're doing like a 3-episode special on Netflix.
Okay, so she is still talking about that. She is saying she's still on TV, Nancy is. She goes, no grasp on finances. Oh, yeah, fortunately there is an alternative. I know someone who'd be perfect for the job. She's a dedicated parent. She's smart. She's more than a pretty face. Peggy is over to the side just ready to come in and take her accolades. Nancy goes, she's me, Nancy Hicks Gribble, Pick Hicks.
Yeah, Pick Hicks.
Yeah. Then it shows Bobby and Hank, and they are both very surprised. Bobby puts the button machine down, and Peggy's like, what? And she goes, and if elected? And then it goes back to Bobby, and Bobby's like, oh, well. He's just like, oh, well,
yeah, he
it's
didn't
over.
care.
And then it goes back to Nancy on TV, and she goes, to turn Arlen Schools into, and then Peggy jumps in front of the camera. She goes, wait, I'm running too, Peggy Hill for school board. And then she starts getting dragged off by a couple of security guys. And in the back, she's saying, these are my people. They want to hear me speak. Arlen! And
Arlen!
Hank looks upset, goes back to his newspaper. Bobby starts making some more buttons.
That would be another good shirt. A shirt that has 1 A and like 6 R's, and then Arlen, like you're yelling, Arlen. Yeah.
All right, that's our second commercial break. We'll take that, and we'll be
right back.
There it is.
At Patron, we craft our tequila using high-quality natural ingredients without additives. No sweeteners, no extracts, no secrets. In fact, Patron's secret ingredient is that we have no secret ingredients. Just 100% additive-free tequila, made with 100% Weber Blue Agave, water, and thyme. Patron, 100% additive-free tequila. Visit patrontequila.com to learn more. The perfect way to enjoy Patron is responsibly. Copyright 2025, imported by Patron Spirits Company, Coral Gables, Florida. Tequila 40% ABV.
I can say to my new Samsung Galaxy S25 Ultra, hey, find a keto-friendly restaurant nearby and text it to Beth and Steve. And it does, without me lifting a finger. So I can get in more squats anywhere I can. 1, 2, 3.
Will that be cash or credit?
Credit. 4.
Galaxy S25 Ultra, the AI companion that does the heavy lifting so you can do you. Get yours at Samsung.com. Compatible with select apps. Requires Google Gemini account. Results may vary based on input. Check responses for accuracy.
All right, so we are back. We have they're out in the yard. Hank is out there with Peggy's signs. Now, there are different signs in different yards. So in men's yard, it says men to win. There's Big's the pants. So do you remember?
Very confusing strategy.
Do you remember the old like Barbasol? Have you ever seen those? Like, you know what I'm talking about when I say Barbasol?
Yeah, I know
like
what Barbasol
cream,
is for sure,
right?
yeah.
So they used to do these ads on the side of the highway, and they would do that same thing. They would take a phrase and they would break it up into several signs, like 4 or 5 in a row.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So it'd be like, are you stubbly? Fix it with bubbly, or what, and it would just go boop, 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 boop. And it was this little campaign they did. And so I'm assuming that's what this is hearkening back to, is the fact that you have to read the first sign, then the second sign, then the third sign.
I don't think roadside advertisement's been a big thing for a while.
Billboards are a scam.
Yeah,
they're a scam. Because ain't nobody looking at them.
They're
and
as
if
cool
they
as
do,
they
you
used to
can't
be.
prove it. Hank says, Peggy, do I have to put these in the
right
order?
I look at them. I definitely look at. I like seeing what's out there.
I forget they're there.
Well, they got digital ones now. So
now the only one that I do know where it's at, and I can tell you almost verbatim what it says, is the one for blessedcaskets.com next to my house. Because don't pay those casket prices that the funeral directors want you to pay. You can buy your own casket and bring it to the funeral home.
At blessedcasket.com.
Go to blessedcaskets.com. Trying to get them as a sponsor. I'd love to do a show from a casket. Hank
that'd be great, laying in one and doing a show.
Hank says, Peggy, do I have these signs in the right order? She goes, you better. Here comes someone. Big smiles. So she starts to light a sparkler. She's going to stand on the side of the road in her front yard with a sparkler going, and the two of them just smiling like idiots in front of these 3 damn signs. And she goes, oh, it's only Con. And then she starts to put it out. She, licks her fingers, goes, and she goes, ow, 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 ow. And then Con comes over and he runs over Nancy's sign. And as he's going by, he goes, go to hell. Go to hell. Jesus. It got very mean very quickly.
Yeah, he did.
But he just runs over the other. Go to hell.
Go to hell.
That's very good stuff. All right, so now we're in Min's house. Connie and Min are working on signs as Con comes in, and he goes, phase 2 complete, van rented, ready to pick up constituents. Sorry, a lot of drinking this morning. And sweep election. Phase 3, a victory dance. He starts to kind of dance. She looks out the window and she goes, you rent minivan? What are you thinking? Minivan seats 7 people. I need 15 to swing election. How much Peggy Hill paying you to be jackass? Now we go over into Dale's house, and Dale says, something's wrong with the bug. I can't hear a thing, but I can see they have a new van. So he has put a bug in Con's house.
But he's wired it wrong.
He has wired it backwards, so he can listen to whatever they're saying.
But he put a speaker in there.
He put a speaker in their house, yeah. He goes, I bet they're using it to bus their constituents to the polling place. Well, we'll out-van them. We'll keep ours in the garage. They'll never see it coming, idiots. And he's like, why isn't this working? I rewired it myself. They find the bug because they can hear him talking over the stupid speaker that he's planted in their plant.
Yeah, he put a speaker. You can't plant a speaker in somebody's house and expect to hear what the speaker's saying. Yeah, you got to plant a microphone.
All right. Yeah, the bug is hidden worse than the one in the fish. That's exactly right. Or the one, didn't he have one where maybe that's The Office, where he taped it on the bottom of a turtle or something? There was the one in The Office where it was taped on the bottom of a duck. Yeah, nobody's good at that.
No, definitely not.
All right, so then we get that shot we always see where it pans over the whole city of Arlen.
Yeah.
Right? That's the Wes Archer
the
thing,
direction, right? The art direction.
And then you've got Con and Dale in the alley as Bill watches. Con and Dale are yelling at each other. And Con says, you better get out of here, Gribble. I am this close to kicking your ass. And he does this with his fingers like a little bitty tinny. And then Dale says, no one threatens me. I'm this close to kicking your ass. And he goes a little smaller. And then Con says, oh, yeah, well, now I'm this close to kicking your ass. And he's almost got his fingers together. And then Dale says, let's settle this like man. Hanks, whose fingers are closer? Like, they just want to know.
Let's settle this like men.
Fingers.
Who's? No, it's funny that he says, let's settle like men. Then he asks Hank, whose fingers are closer?
Whose fingers are closer? Hank says, whoa, just because our wives are at each other's throats doesn't mean we have to be. And I don't know how Con gets away with some of this stuff, because he literally says, oh, easy for you to say, your wife a loser. I mean, those are tough words right there, man.
Tough words.
Your wife's a loser. Dale goes, now,
words,
Con, maybe Hank's right. I say we let bygones be. Sneak attack. And he pops him, and then he jumps up
slaps him, jumps over the fence, hits him right in his neck. Yeah.
Sneak attack, I win. All right, so now we're at the Hill house. Bobby's still making those damn buttons.
Still pressing them up.
Bobby says, I'm so hungry and tired. I messed up the last 50 buttons. Peggy comes out, and she goes, Bobby's out, Hank's in. He goes, fine. When are we having dinner? It's 9:15. It's 9:15 at night, and they haven't eaten dinner.
No dinner.
She goes, fine, here's $10. Go. And
she gives a 10, 11, 12-year-old
$10.
$10, which at that time that'd get you a solid meal with change.
He could have got anything he wanted at McDonald's at that point.
Pretty much any fast food point at that point, you could go in there with $10 and walk out with at least a number one meal.
Squirrel tactics escape. Yeah, that's
exactly yeah, without the pocket sand.
Dale, Octavio, and Joseph are next door, and they've got the Bugabago with a big sign on top for Nancy. And they're trying to get it into the garage. Peggy is spying on them out the window, and you hear, Joseph, don't stop the sign. And they run into the garage door. Peggy turns around, and she goes, so they have a van. Okay, Hank, Min has her support here, and she puts a pin in the map where it says Little Louse, which I didn't know that was an actual area.
I didn't know that
at
either.
Arlen.
We now know.
She goes, I'll concede Little Louse to her. Nancy's support is, well, she's been blathering about all those dogs named after her in this trailer park, so she puts a pin in the Shady Pines trailer park. She goes, which leaves all of this for me, and she circles the rest of the map. Yeah, I don't think that's the way it works. She goes,
yeah, I don't think that's the way it works either, because she's not counting on everybody else that's running.
Yeah. She goes, Hank, we're going to need a bus. He goes, we're not spending money to rent a bus. She goes, it's for the freaking children. I mean, she screams at him. It's for the freaking children.
Yeah, and that's one of the things that I think is
Artie's
weird
right
about this
here where he
episode.
says both of those other areas are outside of Arlen, so I don't even know that they count.
Yeah, I don't think they count either. Well, that's one of the things that I think is weird about this episode, too, is that she literally, it's just a fight between the three of them because they don't, ever discuss one bit about any other candidate or anything like that. It's all just these three ladies and not the actual person that's leading the election.
Yep.
So I don't even care I don't even think they care about actually winning because they're not looking at the other variables.
Completely in
yeah,
why they went
it's just
into
a
this
fight
thing.
now.
So the next day, Peggy's on the phone. Hank brings her some coffee. She gets off the phone. She goes, Hank, the phone poll numbers are not good. The projections show Nancy with 4 votes, Min also with 4 votes, and Peggy Hill with 0. Now, I can increase my margin of error to 5 votes, but even then, I am just winning by the skin of my teeth.
Skin of my teeth.
That's not the way math works, but all
that
right.
is the math ain't mathing on that one.
She goes, he goes, well, when people see that flyer you put in the penny saver, she goes, that doesn't even come out until after Election Day. Why in the hell would you put an ad in that doesn't come out until too late? She goes,
that's what I'm saying, that she's not even thinking about anything anymore. She's just doing stuff.
He goes, now I need to motivate my base, the hardcore constituents who would fight and die for me. Hank, you have to make me a base. Call your customers. He goes, I don't really think I should mix politics and propane. People's passions run pretty high about both of those. No, they don't, Hank, just you. She goes, Hank, I cannot allow myself to be beaten by Nancy or Min. I could never show my face in this neighborhood again. He goes, I know, but with your numbers being 0 and all, maybe you should just prepare a concession speech. She goes, what? You want me to concede those two? Hank, you're out. Peggy, you're in. I mean, now she's third person.
Yeah.
All right, so now we're at the Arlen High School auditorium. There's a big banner up that says Vote Today. Min and Nancy are standing in front of the doors. And, again, how they get away by saying some of this stuff, I'm not real sure. Min says, I'm no weather bimbo, but forecast looking cloudy for you to win. I mean, damn. That's rough.
No weather bimbo, yeah.
Nancy looks at her and goes, just because I'm beautiful doesn't mean I'm harmless, Shug. If you ever wondered what happened to the other weathercaster before me, that's a pretty good threat also.
Yikes.
And
yeah.
I do not doubt that Nancy could fight.
No, she probably can throw down.
I do not doubt that one bit.
She wrestled an Indian for 15, 20 years.
Sure. Dale is driving around with a loudspeaker on his Bugabego, and he's out in the Shady Pines trailer park. He's going to go out and pick up a bunch of voters and bring them in to vote for his wife, which is illegal.
illegal.
Artie says Min is a freak, a brutal freak.
Well, I don't know about all that,
right.
but yeah.
And so he's out there, and he's saying this over the loudspeaker. It's voting van. Yes, the voting van is here. It's a voting van. Take it to the polling place. So let's all get on the van right now and vote for Nancy Hicks Gribble for school board. He sees a guy up on top of a trailer, because this is a trailer park, and he looks like he's fixing like one of those small satellite dishes or something on top of the thing. And he goes, oh, hey there, friend. The guy looks at him, and he goes, I mean, the guy looks mean as hell, right? He goes, I'm here for the voters.
Yeah, he looks like a real tough guy.
He does. He looks like a mean dude. He goes, voting trucks already done come and took them. He goes, but I'm the one who's supposed to come and done took them. He goes, hang on there, mister. I want to talk to you about that fancy hat you got on your head. You know you're in trouble
just a
when
Mack
somebody
truck
says
hat.
something like that. He goes, but I don't want to talk about my fancy hat. He gets in the car and takes off. The guy starts chasing him, throws a socket wrench at him, breaks his windshield, and he's just like, son of a bitch, and he drives off. So Dale, 0 voters.
0.
Now we're at the Laotian
and a broken windshield.
Yes, and a broken windshield. Now we're at the Laotian Nail Salon, or that strip place, and Khan is doing the same thing. He's got a van. And he's out there, hello, election bus here, somebody. Nobody's there. right? There's nothing going on there.
Nothing.
Now we get Peggy, who we see a school bus, full-size school bus driving down the road, and there's a bunch of people in it. There's people from the Laotian place.
Yeah.
There's people from the trailer parks. There's dogs. There's all kinds of stuff in this bus, right?
Big old bus.
And this guy talking to his dog, who happens to be named Nancy, says, "Down, Nancy." He goes, "Hey, driver, when are we going to get to the polls?" It pans over, and the driver is Peggy, and she goes, "Never." I mean, that is the meanest I have ever
Pretty
seen her
sinister,
look.
riding off into the distance in a school bus.
Yeah. So she's basically just driving these people to hell. And she passes a sign that says Oklahoma. So, I mean, she's already driven them all the way to freaking Oklahoma, which is insane.
That's crazy.
All right. So
over a school board election.
The next thing we see.
The elections are rigged.
This is the one that.
Too big to lose.
This is the one thing that I'm not super crazy about with this episode is that it just ends, right? Like, we got her driving people to Oklahoma. We got Khan, who found nobody. We got Dale being chased by a maniac. You know, I don't know where Hank's at right at the moment. You know, where the hell is Bobby? I mean, and all of this stuff, right? And then it just kind of leaves it hanging because we go to the next day, and the next day we get, more illegal kidnapping and crossing state lines. That's right, just like she did with the poor little Mexican girl when she brought her back, you know?
Yeah, kidnapping across state lines is probably more illegal. I thought taking voters to the voting booths wasn't illegal.
I think it is illegal if you are affiliated with the candidate.
Okay, I got you.
Believe, but I'm not totally sure about that, so I may be wrong there. Lupe, yeah, the little girl from Mexico. So the next day, birds are out. It's sunshiny. All three women come out and they pick up their newspaper that's been thrown in front of their house, and they all kind of come together in front of Peggy's house and. Nancy says, "I cannot believe we lost to that Chapman loony." Now, this is the woman who wants to eliminate F and S.
And S.
And one other thing she says here. Min says, "Yeah, not only that, it says here she's getting rid of the after-school program." So they completely lost
They
sight.
lost everything they were going to fight for.
And then this is my favorite. Peggy says, "And biology. And all offensive encyclopedias," whatever that means. Offensive encyclopedias.
Whatever that means, for
So
sure.
I guess that's F and S. She goes, "I guess we kind of burnt the toast on this one. Hey, she only got 18 votes. I hijacked twice as many of your voters on my bus yesterday. We could have crushed her." Min says, "Yeah, into fine powder." And then off screen, we hear Bobby and Joseph. Bobby says, "Ow, my eye." Joseph goes, "Cool." And then Min says, "Maybe we should spend time with kids today. Maybe we could be there after school program. Maybe we take them to," and then Nancy goes, "a museum." And Peggy says, "Or the zoo, which is a museum of animals." And that is it. We get the credits.
And that is it.
It's just such a build-up to almost nothing.
Nothing.
There at the end.
The ending
we get the
is
credits,
pretty abrupt.
and then after the credits, we get, "It's for the freaking children," which I wish they would have also
It
included.
is.
Go to hell!
It is for the freaking children.
But that's it. That is
is
Season 7, Episode 14, Board Games, aired March 2nd, 2003, 7ABE08. Thank you so much for all of you wanting to be here. Yes, you're right, Artie. It all happened because they didn't want to watch their own damn kids. You got that right.
Because it's supposed to be for after school, and all of them happen to be there after school.
Yeah, no kidding. But thank you all for being here. We appreciate
We
you
do
being
appreciate
here,
you
sticking
greatly.
around. We love the fact that you come see us on Sundays when we record this. This is our Monday episode. We will get to the end of this, and we usually record our Friday episode the same day. So if you're in the room and you want to stick around, great.
Hang out.
You want to tell them where they can find us otherwise?
Yeah, you can find us at BWAAAKOTH. That's 3 A's, BWAAAKOTH on all social medias. You can also email us at BWAAAKOTH@gmail.com. And go ahead and get us some emails in there, some suggestions, and maybe what y'all want to see us do next or whatever. Guests, if you want to be a guest, send an email.
Yeah, please.
Appreciate it.
We'd love to have some guests, especially from our audience. Jordan, Rusty, Artie, James, Daniel. Who else we got in here? We got a lot of Artie. Luke, James again, Artie some more. Rusty, thank you all for being in here. Thanks for sticking around. We really appreciate it. And I think there's just one last thing to say.
And that would be Wimatanye.
Wimatanye, indeed. We will see you next time. This has been a Rogue Media Network production.